Christians have been electing Republican politicians into office for more than a generation.
Because they promised to bring back family values.
And because they told us that they were good Christian men and women, and we believed them.
They talk about traditional family values. They talk about Christianity.
But when you think about it, what have they really accomplished?
We elected people from Reagan forward that had that message, and they didn't come through.
Nothing has really changed.
Families are still breaking apart.
Abortions are still high as ever.
And our elected officials, if they're going to say stuff like that, then they need to come through. That's something that's been disappointing.
All we have to show for our votes is gridlock in Congress.
We've got polarized politics where the extremes are running it and the people with common sense are gone. They've gotten out.
They really don't represent that Christianity that we expect them to show in Congress.
If you're going to say that you're a Christian, then you need to act like a Christian.
They talk like they're Christians, but their actions really don't show it.
That's something that's been disappointing.
When Republicans had their chance to do what they had promised on social issues, all they really accomplished were tax cuts, and above all, tax cuts for those who need them the least.
Now, I'm all for tax cuts. I'd like to pay as little as possible, but I understand we need revenue to operate and to have a safe country and to do things for the good of the country.
And now we've been put in the position of fighting each other as if we were enemies.
They blame the poor, say they're not carrying their load.
They're not carrying their load because they don't make enough to pay income taxes.
And yet they brag to each other about how much money they're not paying because they have lawyers and accountants to get them out of paying taxes.
Blaming the poor is not
Blaming
Christian.
the poor is not Christian.
It's not Christian, and it is not biblical.
Christ came for the poor.
Jesus came to show God's love for the poor and for those who are up against it in every way.
All we've got is tax breaks, which I think are wonderful, but we need to do more.
Make policies that help us live a better life.
Opportunities for gainful employment to make a decent living for a whole family are draining away because of the politics and the policies of the national government.
The Republican Party has been promising family values for an entire generation. And if they haven't delivered by now,
If they haven't delivered by now, chances are they never will.
They probably will never deliver.
Did you know?
65% of all abortions are performed on Christian patients.
65%?
65% are performed on Christian patients.
There's like a disconnect there.
if we want to see an end to abortion, let's start at church.
If we start practicing what we preach,
If we start practicing what we preach,
including enabling people to make a decent living and receive decent medical care,
we can see a 65% decline in abortion.
we can see a 65% decline in abortion.
The Republicans have an oxymoron view of life. They don't want abortions, but they don't mind executions. And I have a hard time with that. We don't know what God can do with that person.
I'm a Democrat.
I may be a Republican.
I grew up in a Republican family.
I'm an independent.
More importantly,
But more importantly,
I am a Christian.
I am a Christian.
I'm a Christian.
I've been a minister for 63 years, and I know that no political party ever has or ever could represent God.
No political party could ever represent Jesus.
God is not a
God is not a
Republican.
Republican.
God is not a Republican.
It may be obvious to some people, but to me, it was a revelation.
For a while, I believe in order to be a good Christian, you had to vote with the Republican Party.
I know God's not a Republican. I know He's not a Democrat.
He's not a socialist.
He's not a communist.
He's not a capitalist.
He's not even an American. God is spirit.
And where the Spirit is,
Where the Spirit is,
There is liberty.
there is freedom.
that means that we are free.
You and I are free to vote for whatever candidate.
Whatever candidate we think will do the best job.
We have the freedom to vote for any candidate that we think will do the job that we want done.
Politicians can't make America more
Can't
Christian.
make America more
Politicians cannot make America more
They
Christian.
cannot legislate
They
salvation.
cannot legislate salvation.
That's not what they're for. That's what the church is supposed to be doing. That's what we Christians are supposed to be doing by the way we live as well as the way we speak.
If we could elect more people that are Christ-centered. And most of the time, the people that are Christ-centered, they don't have to tell you. They do it by their actions.
How about Christians start acting more like Christ and less like politicians?
How about we start showing the love of Christ?
How about we stop talking about
Jesus and start being more like Jesus.
Because if we lift him up,
instead of politics and
Anger and division.
instead of fear and propaganda,
instead of self-righteousness,
Then when we lift him up
he will draw all men
onto him,
then America will be more Christian.
because
Because
Christians
Christians
would be
will be
more
more
like
like Christ.
Christ.
Because Christians will be more like Christ.
So spread the word.
So help spread the word.
Share this video.
Let everyone know
God is
God is not a
God is not a
Republican.
Republican.
God is not a Republican.